Hey everybody, just a story thing about business tonight. What's happening with me and just different things that happens here in 1 week. It just had a couple stories happen. My wife's like, you should make a video about it. And, one thing that's happened that I just sad to say is working on a job rebuilding a dumpster fence for a commercial property that I keep care of. But this is it right in town of where I live. Right off 16, I'm working on a commercial building, rebuilding this dumpster fence, and I'm doing it with cedar deck boards. So I'm buying 12-foot deck boards and cutting them in half. It's going to be a 6-foot fence, but something that I've never had an issue with stuff disappearing on me. And I left six pieces of that deck board there. We had a small storm come in that was only like a dusting to a couple inches, and the next day was pretty warm. So I left it there for 2 days, but I didn't leave it like right out where people could see it neither. There's still a steel meshed gate that I left, and I got the steel post back in the ground, poured the concrete, and I want to say I brought 6 of them with me because I was going to use them as runners basically. But I'm like, I didn't want to load them back on my truck. I had the truck I took them out with, I just laid them on my sander, strapped them down because they were 12 feet long. And got them out there. I said, I'll leave them. But I left them there 2 days and they disappeared. So someone stole 6 boards that I want to say are like 17 something a pop. So that was a little bit frustrating. I'm like, wow, I'm surprised that happened in my town. So that's one story that not a good story, but that surprised me. So then right now I'm delivering. I don't normally deliver firewood this late in the season. The extra wood I have, I normally advertise and get rid of it well before snow comes. This year I've been busy. We did quite a few deliveries the last couple weekends. I told my wife, I said, why don't we just try to deal with it Saturdays and we'll deliver all day long. And so just the difference in people that I've got in that is like the society that we're in now is like, it's changing. I had one gentleman order wood in Ossipee, literally about a mile past Shop and Save. So me and my wife's like, we'll bring his up at noon. And I told him the night before, I said, I'm probably going to be there around lunchtime. So we get there literally at 12 o'clock. No one's around. Not a big deal. We ate lunch at Shop and Save, which is about a mile shy of this guy's house. So it wasn't a big wasted trip, other than we're in a dump truck with a load of wood. So I'm eating at Shop and Save. We grabbed a salad basically at Shop and Save. I ate my salad. And I made a phone call on the way home. The problem I had is I had other deliveries to do that day, but I sell mixed hardwood and I sell barkless oak. My next 2 or 3 deliveries was barkless oak, so I had a load of mixed hardwood on there. So I made a phone call, literally sold it on the way home. It's not a big deal. It's not hard for me to get rid of hardwood. It was a customer that bought a cord from me, and I told him I was getting low. He's like, well, he said, if you have some left, let me know. I'm probably going to want it. So I called him. I said, hey, I got a load on the truck I got to get rid of. He says, yeah, start literally on the way home. So it worked out good. So that same guy calls me, not that guy I sold it to, but the guy that wasn't at his house. About 4:30, 5 o'clock, I get a text saying, hey, why didn't you bring me my wood? And I said, I did. No one was there. He's like, my wife was there all day. I hit the door, 2 different door buzzes, knocked on the door. I hung around for like 5 minutes. So he's like, well, is there any way I can get it Sunday? I'm like, yeah, I'll bring it up Sunday then. I said, I'll be there at noon. I said, I want a phone number that I can call you at, because he wasn't answering the text. So I don't know if he did it to be a pain in my butt or what. But the next day, I handle it well too, because I'm in my 50s now. I don't let stuff bother me. And when I was 25, it probably would have got heated. But I get up there the next day, I back in, run the top up, and I said, where do you want it? I see there was a new pile of wood there that wasn't there the day before. And it's green. I mean, I literally backed my truck up, and I figured he's going to want me to dump my wood right up to that pile. And so I get the top up. I'm not going to dump, because I don't dump the wood until someone gives me my money. Because it's never happened to me, but you hear those horror stories all the time. You dump a load and then they tell you they ain't got the money. And I don't want to load it all by hand. So he comes walking up, and I said, is that where you were yesterday, getting that wood out of the woods? He goes, what do you mean? He said, that's dry wood. I said, no, that's green wood. And he says, you can tell that's green wood from 20 feet away. I'm like, well, I'm not really 20 feet away, but I'm like, yeah, I know green wood when I see it. It was all ash. You can tell it would literally just split like the day before. So I said, do you want me to dump mine on top of that or up close to that pile? He goes, no, I'm all set. That guy just sold me that dry wood. I said, that ain't dry wood. He goes, oh, so you know that's not dry just by looking at it. You don't even have to go pick it up. I said, yeah. So he says, this guy's probably in his 60s, but he's like, so you think you know more about firewood than me? I said, well, apparently I know when wood's dry or not. So then he's looking at the wood on my truck because it's good. My wood's all grayed, dried, cracked. You can tell it's dry wood. He's like, I'm going to be all set. I'm like, what do you mean you're going to be all set? He's like, I had my number. I had you and another guy, and whoever showed up first, got the deal. I'm like, well, geez, it would have been nice if you would have called me, And I said, I called you 15 minutes ago, told you I was on my way. He goes, yeah, that guy just left. And I'm like, yeah, but that ain't dry wood. He goes, yeah, that's dry enough for me to burn this year. I said, no, it's not. He goes, you can tell that from this distance. So I don't know. I want to say he got what he deserved. He says, well, this guy came and beat you to it, and he was $50 less a load for wood. I said, well, it should be a lot less than that. I said, it's green. It's like, but the guy, I don't know if it's just an arrogance thing or what, or he was trying to like piss me off. It didn't. My wife was with me. I walked back up to the truck. I'm putting the top back down. She goes, what are you doing? I said, he said he's all set. She's like, what? So you have these people that, like, number one, he called two different guys and like sent me an angry text at 4:30 saying, why didn't you show up? Even though I did show up. And he's like, I don't think you went to the right house. I'm like, no, you got one door that says, please use other door. But there was I said, a door buzzer there and a door buzzer. I said, I rang both door buzzers. No one came. So whether your wife tells you she was there or not, she wasn't. Or she didn't answer the door. I don't know. So I think the guy was just trying to be a jerk and had me go up there and almost waste time again. And he goes, well, I'm all set. I don't know what to tell you. I said, it's not a big deal. I said, I've only got a couple quarter dry wood left. And I said, it's hard to get this time of year. And, but I said, just so you know, I said, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I said, that ain't dry wood. I said, that literally just got split. He goes, you can tell that from 10 feet away I said, yes. I said, I split enough wood. I said, I split 50 something cords of wood a year. I know what ash looks like when you split it open. It's real bright white. I said, that yellows a little bit as it dries. And, so then he's looking at the wood in my truck thinking, oh shit. But I'm like, I don't care if he begged me to leave it there. I wasn't going to leave it there at that time. So I left. So you get a guy like that, I have my normal customers I sell wood to. Then the extra wood I normally put on Marketplace. Between the two, it sells out. So you have a guy like that that's just a jerk. But again, I don't know if he thinks he got me or what. But again, I made a phone call, got rid of it on the way home. It's like, it's a lot of people that buy wood from me will be like, oh, I wish I would have, if I known it looked like. I sell nice dry wood. It's literally like 17 to 20% moisture content. So most people that buy one cord, a lot of people will do that. You'll find in the wood business. This is just a side thing for me. I'm a landscape company, but you'll find people will order one cord to make sure it's decent wood because they've been screwed so many times. Which this guy basically got screwed, but I really don't think he's smart enough to realize that yet. But then, so the next deliveries I had, I had a guy that said, hey, will you bring it to Molten Barrel? Which is a pretty good, it's a, probably 40-minute ride from my house. But he was buying the barkless oak and he wanted multiple cords of it. So I said, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I said, that won't be a bad ride. So I bring him, the weekend before this, I brought him a couple cords and then he wanted two, same thing. He see that it was nice stuff. He goes, well, how much do you think you got left? I said, I probably got another 2 cords of barkless oak. He said, well, I want it. Can you bring it up next Saturday? So, or next Saturday, Sunday, whatever it was. So I said, yeah, I'll get it to you next weekend. So I bring that wood up to him and I back in, dump the last load and he pays me and he takes his glove off and shakes my hand and thanks me for bringing it to Molten Barrel. So I'm just saying, you have, same thing. This guy was probably same age. I'm going to say mid to late 60s, but he literally, the guy he normally gets his wood from sold out and he normally would keep enough wood for this guy. He's had the same wood guy for like 15 years and they got screwed by him this year. Basically sold out before he got to him or whatever. But he was thankful that I brought that wood up to Molten Barrel to him. So I wanted to do this video to say that the fabric, you hear the term, the fabric of America has changed. And I mean, it really has. But like you have one guy that's appreciative. Same thing, the Saturday that I went up there to give this guy his wood, The guy that I called and sold that wood to, same thing. When I got there, he was putting the wood that he did have in his basement. I backed in with that last cord. He was thankful that I brought him that wood and I took his work gloves off, shake my hand, thanking me that I called him and said, hey, I did end up having more wood. If you want it, I'll bring it over. And it helped me out. And I told him that. I said, my next delivery was barkless oak. I didn't want to go home and dump that back on the ground, basically. So just a weird world we're living in now. You got people that are like, wow, thanks for bringing that to me. And then you got this other guy was an arrogant prick. There's no other way of saying it. And I did handle it well. My wife was laughing on the way home because she's like, when you were 25, that would have been a shit show. It's like, I'm like, we laughed on the way home because it's like, I don't care. I'm going to make someone's day calling them up and say, hey, I do have more wood if you want it. And that's it goes that quick. I have one cord left right now. A guy called. I don't know him, but someone my daughter dealt with. But he was like, is there any way you can keep this till Thursday? He said, I work a weird job, and he said, I only have Thursdays off. I said, yeah, just let me know. And he called back like, no, gave me his address, said, I'll be here at this time. He works weird hours. I guess he's on a thing where he's on 13 days and gets one day off, and it's different all the time. So he said, next week I have Thursday off. That's the day I can meet you there. I'm like, all right, that's fine. So I believe that's going to be another good experience. He's going to be and he's thankful that I'm holding it until Thursday. And again, I think he wants more than one cord, and I did realize I'm into the wood that I have now. None of it was stacked. It was just in a big pile that I had. It was just the extra that I had. I ran out of room. I made a big pile of it. It was hard to guess how much wood was actually sitting there. And I thought there was one or two cords left. There was three. So I actually have another cord. If this guy wants it, I'm going to bring him. And I believe it's going to be a good experience. But I just thought I'd do this video and get it out there. I don't know if it's just my area and here in New Hampshire, or I think that's a new world we live in. I don't get it, I guess is where we're going to leave it. I'd like to see someone say something to see if they're having the same experience in their area. Same with the work I do, like the landscape jobs I do. The last job I did this year, I'm going to mention it during this video too. The last job I did this year was supposed to be like around $2,500-$2,800. The husband kept adding stuff, and it ended up being, more than double that by the time we were done. But he okayed it, and I had the text messages to prove it. And I'm glad I did, because the wife calls me up because I sent the bill. I sent the text to her saying, hey, I'm done. The job's done. They wanted pictures. I took some good pictures, sent them. I had my daughter send her the pictures and everything with the last invoice. I normally don't do that neither. Normally I get a chunk of money up front, but this was a friend of another customer that I've had for years. And he said, don't even worry about the guy. So I said, normally I would never let it go out that far, in the thousands of dollars. But the wife basically calls me. My phone rings and she goes, hey, I just got this stuff. That's a substantial amount of money, more than what the original job was. I'm like, yeah. I said, her and her husband, over a matter, I worked there probably 11 days, never discussed this. But he added, like I said, substantial stuff. I added a driveway. We filled in the front yard, did a lot of seeding. I literally got this seeded and strawed the day before we had a snowstorm here. So then she's like, well, we'd like to come up and look at what you did. Or at least I would like to look at what you did before I write this check. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't know what you're going to find. I said, it's snowing up here, because this is a camp to them. But again, I went beyond, didn't charge them the full amount. Like, I gave them a discount. I said, the 3 or 4 things he added, I said, there'll be this much money. I took a few $100s off, because I said, I'm there with the machine. It ain't no big deal to do your driveway. I just got to haul some gravel in, whatever. Gave them very fair prices. But I wanted to wrap this job up, get out of there. And I knew the snowstorm was coming. And when I say I got done, I got done seeding and strawing that yard, and it snowed that night. So I'm going to explain this. A week goes by, another week goes by, the third week we're getting into the third week. I called the woman up. I said, hey, I'm looking for a check. She goes, don't worry, we'll pay you. I'm like, well, to me, that's a substantial amount of money. I don't know what you guys do for work, but I said, the job's done. I'd like to get paid. And I don't know if I came across a little rude or what. I really don't care. I'm also to that point in my career. So I get a check in the mail 3 or 4 days after that. And with I don't want to say a nasty note, but they're like, well, if we have issues in the spring, we're going to be calling you. I'm like, yeah, I really don't care. If there's an issue, I got to go overseed something, I'll do it. I have no problem with that. Other than that, I'll never work for these people again, though. I'll go back if they got an issue with something I did this job. If they say, hey, there's a spot that ain't growing real good, I'll go overseed it or something. But as far as working for them again, I'll never work for these people. I don't understand these people. Like, I'm not, maybe they got screwed by somebody, but very unusual for me to do this. I had nothing. I had no money and a crap load of material out. I had loads of material, loom, gravel, seed, straw. I was out thousands of dollars if they didn't pay me. So, and I'm not worried about not getting paid, but like how long someone will drag their feet before they pay a contractor now is mind blowing. Well, we want to come. I understand that too. We want to come up and look at what you did, because most of my work literally is on someone's camp. So they get up. Some people get up every weekend. Some people only come up every, 4 or 5 times a summer. Not my problem. You know what I mean? I made it clear to the husband when that job would be done, and he's like, well, I'm going to do the best I can to get up there and meet you that day that you finish and pay you. I don't know what these people do for work. They're old enough, so I don't think they should be working that hard, but apparently they both have a rat race type job and they couldn't pull away. But I'm just to that point. I don't care what the situation is. I thought I was doing them a favor, like getting this done, and apparently they don't feel the same way. But that's another thing. I'm just all done. From now on, I'm not doing, until you send me a check for a third of what I'm going to be doing, I'm not starting a job. And halfway through that job, I'm going to expect another check. Again, I thought I was doing these people a favor of getting this stuff, all the added stuff done this season. These are people that have kind of waited for me, I'm going to say 8 or 9 months. I gave them a price on this. They didn't get back to me for like 5 or 6 weeks with an okay. By that time, I was booked up for the whole summer. So I said, I'm going to do the best I can to fit it in this fall. They're like, yeah, we don't care. We close camp down at this time, but we don't even care if you're going after that. Again, thinking I'm doing them a favor, but then they're like, well, like I said, just people are different now. From now on, I want to work for people that want me working for them, I guess is the best way to put it. But I just thought I'd mention that in this video too, that in a week's time, the different attitude from the people I work for in a matter of a week, I'm like, we laughed about it. Me and my wife laughed about it, but it's really not funny. I mean, I just think society's getting to be crappier every day. But anyways, if you like this content, please like and subscribe. It's kind of a weird video, but I want to get it out there. My wife thought it'd be a good subject to throw out there and see what people have to say about it. And again, thanks for watching.